Hi.
Hello. Thank you for joining us today. So as mentioned in the email, we will ask you some questions and you are free to ask us some questions afterwards. This session will be recorded and it will be uploaded online for voters to view later. So just to confirm, you have nominated yourself for the role of Vice President for internal communication. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Right. So could you please introduce yourself, including your name, what you're studying, and your year of study, please?
Yep. Hi there. I'm Angel. I'm going into my second year of MSci Psychology, and I've nominated for the role Vice President Internal Communications.
All right. Thank you. So our first question is that what do you think makes you stand out from the other candidates for this role?
Yep. The first point I can think of is mainly my previous engagement with the society. Like I've helped with the social events with Professor Daniel Richardson. I've helped with the end of year party, and I actually observed some communication issues or organizational issues in the society, and I actually helped with solving these issues by perhaps creating the social media team and events team and liaising between them. So I think it's my previous experience with the society that can really help me get onboarded to the role directly without a lot of hassles, and I can just communicate with the departments, and I know that who I should be going to for different issues about the society. And I have such a comprehensive understanding of the society, and I would really hope to continue my effort with the society and helping it grow and perhaps be recognized for my work all along. And another point that I can think of, it's because of my experience with different types of organizations. So I've worked with organizations that were revived. Like similarly in high school, I revived this psychology enthusiast circle. And then I helped with creating the framework again with the staff. And it's very similar to what's the situation in the psychology society. And I also helped with organizations that are more like student led and created by myself. So, for example, for Reminder and Cultured Minds, they're new organizations and I've started them from 0 to 1. So I can observe slightly different types of organizational issues. And then I also have experiences with a more well-established organization like the Mental Health Society. So it's got solid foundation, but I'm helping it to lead that society, and that's different types of organizations I've worked with. And I think from these different types of experiences, I also learn about different types of skills on different branches of a society. So, for example, in Reminder, I can learn about things like social media marketing, video editing with like Premiere Pro, or graphic design with Canva. And then with events organization, I can do that with the Mental Health Society or Cultured Minds. And I also have experiences in outreach. So I think in this role, it's not just about reminding people to communicate, but it's also about learning about the different branches of a society and actually offering more specialist knowledge into how each team should actually plan the projects or events. So I guess that's it.
All right, thank you for your answer. Our next question is that based on the plans that you have outlined in your manifesto, if what do you think might be some difficulties when you implement those plans?
Yep.
And how do you
So yep.
how do you see yourself solving those difficulties?
Okay, sorry for cutting you off just now. Yeah. I think in my manifesto I mentioned three aims. The first aim being offering platforms for committee members to give some feedback to the team, and also offering my own feedback to the team about communication, and also trying to build the team and help the committee members develop their skills. Um, I think first of all, with building the feedbacking platforms, sometimes an issue that may arise would be committee members not knowing that these platforms exist, and maybe they may not have the time or may not be willing to offer the feedback because they think like it may not be suitable for them to do that. So I think to solve this issue, it's by one, trying to let them know that these platforms exist and lower the threshold for them to offer feedback, like giving them more motivation by letting them know that feedbacking, it's something very simple. It could just be like texting your committee members or just speaking to your executive committee member face to face anytime. And I think it's also important for us to make it clear that there are different types of platforms. Like in my manifesto, I've talked about a fully anonymous platform that offers people the space or the confidential space to actually offer their opinions, and also some more in-person ones like face-to-face meetings. And that's different ways that can perhaps encourage committee members to offer their feedback. And then for my second aim, to offer my own feedback, my own perspective, I think it's more like we're more like talking about the difficulties in solving the difficulties in the committee, because this role is about solving the different communication platform and also different communication issues. So I think it's really a matter of using my experience in different organizations. So for example, what I can think of is like if a committee member is supposed to submit a video and they're not doing it, then I would solve this issue with different perspectives. So for example, it could be because of the lack of knowledge in editing a video, or they may not know that the deadline actually exists, or they may not have the motivation because they think they've got too much workload. And if they choose not to reply to my messages or my ways to communicate with them, then I can probably delegate the workload to other team members and let the relevant executive committee member know about this. So it's about, I think if we're talking about difficulties in this point, is about actually solving the issues of solving issues. So I think that's what I think could happen. And one important point I want to talk about is that like our plans are very ideal, but when we try to put them into practice, there are different ad hoc issues. So that's something my role should be working with. And then I think my last point was team building. So similar to the first point, like sometimes we offer these benefits to the team members, they may not actually know about them, but I would try my best to create these team buildings activities as enjoyable as possible. So it's not just a formal meeting they are forced to join, but rather something they can really get excitement from and really bond with the committee members. So as mentioned, I would try to create activities like room escape or real life role playing or having games together or bowling sessions. So it's actually something that's more casual and not like very formal. And I think again we have to make it clear to the committee members that these welfare benefits exist so they can actually grow within our community and also help our society grow. Yeah.
Thank you for that. You've mentioned some really insightful points. So other than that, is there anything else that you would like to share that you haven't mentioned in your manifesto yet?
Yep. So I think first of all, I have to say that my view on this role, it's more like a welfare officer for the committee members. Like usually the welfare officer works with the entire community, all the students in our department. And I think this role is more like a welfare officer for committee members because as practical as it seems, this role is more like increasing the motivation of the committee members to actually work for the society and also to empathize with their needs. Because as committee members, we're all just volunteers helping around in society. And I think it's important for us to know that the engagement may change and then the way that they help us may change. And it's okay to do that as well. There's no point in stressing like anyone to work with the society. And I think that's why my role is here to help arrange their workload or help with their needs, like if anything happens in other perspectives of their lives. So, for example, if they may have some other circumstances that prevent them from helping our society, then it is perhaps my job to help build rapport with them and also learn about what's going on and what's preventing them to contribute to our society. And I think my previous experiences from volunteering, like helping on the helpline with Beat or Shout, can really help me build rapport with them and listen to them empathetically and perhaps empower them to make them feel that this is not just a role that you're forced to take on, but it's more like a role that you can gain insights into psychology and build some connections with the committee members, and also learn that it's a role that you can do as much as you can and to unleash your potential. And a similar point with this is like, if any committee members may have some mental health needs that are more urgent, I can also offer mental health first aid because I'm a certified mental health first aider. And I think working with different community members, it's also important to know that we have to respect different cultures, in which I think my experience with Cultured Minds can really help with this, because I've learned about how different cultures look at mental health or different issues, and it allows me to be less judgmental and work with people from all walks of life. So yeah.
All right, thank you for that. So finally, do you have any questions that you would like to ask us about the role or about the society? Don't feel, if you don't have any, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions. Like, really, I've been involved with society quite a lot, so I know how it works. And I think if elected, I believe I can get on board it like immediately. So I really look forward to collaborating with the new committee after the elections. Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you for joining the session. Hello, can you hear us?
Yes.
Hi. All right, as mentioned in the email, we will now ask you some questions and you can ask us some questions afterwards. So this session will be recorded and uploaded so that the voters can see. Right. Just to confirm, you have nominated yourself for the role of Vice President for Internal Communications. Is that correct? Right. Could you please introduce yourself, including your name, your year of study, and what you're studying?
Yeah, so I'm Desiree. I'll be entering my third year in psychology, the coming academic year. Yeah.
Right, thank you. So our first question is that what do you think makes you stand out from the other candidates who are applying for this role?
Okay, so I think in this role, which is for Vice President of Internal Communications, it's really big on organizing people so that the society can run effectively and we can plan fun events for everyone. So I think what makes me stand out is I have experience organizing people in the past, and this sort of translates to what I sort of envision if I have this role in the society in the future. So one thing is definitely, I feel like in this role, you first have to manage the committee members, those that hold leadership positions, and secondly, to integrate like the society members into that. So for the committee leaders, I would say that one thing that I can think of which stands out is that I think having a strong timeline from the start is something that would be beneficial, because then the committee leaders would be able to know which events they're planning for, what kind of time frames they have to complete whichever tasks by. So, and the second thing that I think makes me stand out, maybe for society members more relevantly, would be I'm very big on transparency. So I feel like an issue in other organizations I've been in is that sometimes members have feedback and it doesn't get heard. So I'm very big on having year-round feedback sessions. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Right. So our next question is that in your in your manifesto, you have outlined some plans that you want to implement. What sort of difficulties do you foresee might happen when you implement those plans, and how do you want to go about solving them?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things I talked about in my manifesto is about having a timeline, right? Like what I mentioned just now. So definitely one issue I foresee is that some committee members might not really be able to work with the timelines, or not be able to do certain tasks on time, or sometimes we have to extend the deadline for whatever reasons. So I do feel like that's something that will definitely come up with any event and in any society, right? So how I foresee fixing that would be to be flexible around it. I want to instill sort of an attitude where there's a lot of openness, and they are able to come forward and say that, oh, I can't meet this deadline, can I extend it further, and to be reasonable and work with that, rather than somebody who is too down to business and not willing to budge on any of the deadlines. So yeah, one issue I foresee is that people can't meet deadlines, and sometimes you just have to be reasonable but firm with it so that we can eventually get things done.
That's really insightful. Right. So our third question is that, I mean, it's not really a question, but do you have anything else you would like to share that's not already on your manifesto or you haven't mentioned already?
Well, I guess that I've sort of written everything in my manifesto, but maybe one last thing I can say is that I'm very friendly. I'm looking forward to meeting many people, and I hope that by being a part of the society, and if I hold this position, that we can help plan fun events for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So do you have any questions that you would like to ask us about the society or the role?
Uh, yeah, maybe you could share with me like how the society's been going so far, because I know that it's pretty new and stuff, right?
Oh, well, to be fair, this is like recruitment for the official committee, right? So basically the temporary team, we've just tried to muster it whatever we could, and tried our best to organize the two events that happened at the end of
Yeah, yeah.
last school year. So I mean, um so I cannot really say how the how the committee will operate next year, but I mean, I know that like there are a lot of very enthusiastic applicants, and from what I've heard through these chats and from all the manifestos, I think whoever get elected will work just fine with the rest. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, the department is also very supportive.
yeah,
So I mean, like there's there's a lot of things that we like the society could do, given that there's nothing to really compare to in the
yeah, yeah.
previous year, right? So
Mm.
you can just yeah, explore whatever you want
Yeah,
with,
of course.
and yeah, like I say, there's a good support system.
Mm.
So it's
Yeah.
I think it will turn out to be very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just generally speaking, it's a bit of a mess, but I trust that we're in good hands, because if we managed to do something last
Mm.
year with basically no structure, I think
Yeah,
a lot can happen this year. Like
yeah,
I have big faith. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
I agree. As in, I think there's a lot of people who are very enthusiastic and excited about it. So yeah, something
yeah.
amazing will definitely happen. Maybe I was wondering, could you share a bit more about the plans for voting? Like, how are you gonna send it out and things like that? Are you gonna release the manifestos to everyone and like on WhatsApp or like email?
So right now we already, like, you could see the manifestos and everything. I think you saw we posted it on our Insta. I think how it's gonna work, we haven't finalized it yet. I think we're currently discussing which platform exactly we're gonna use for elections. But I think it's gonna be something very simple. All departmental elections do, kind of for all
Yeah.
kind of fragmented societies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's also some roles that there's only one person who kind of is candidate. So what we're gonna do for these ones is probably have I don't remember how it's called. Maybe QA remembers how it's called. It's like when you either vote for trust or vote for no trust, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because
That
it's
sounds good.
fairer, I think. But yeah, it's more fair. You know, when there's only one person,
Yeah,
it's a bit more fair.
yeah.
But apart from that, I think we're pretty ahead with the plan. Organizing all this took less time than we thought it would.
That's a good thing.
It was harder to organize the events than to organize the election. I mean, the events were in person, makes sense. But
Yeah. Okay, all that sounds great. The future is looking very bright.
Right. Thank you so much. That's the end of the session.